This is going to be a fun one. That would be Bethesda. Rage 2 as a game, my opinion on it. I was really stoked for the first Rage. Game Informer had a cover story on it, kind of put it out there, and it sounded really cool. I love id. Obviously they did Doom and the original Wolfenstein. I mean, there's so many things they're known for. So obviously when id's doing a new IP and it looked the way that it did in the first Rage, I was excited. Unfortunately, it was one of those games that slipped through the cracks for me. Never got around to playing it. So when I heard Rage 2 announced, I'm like, all right, cool. Second opportunity to try out the franchise. Well, I got to tell you guys, the first trailer they released for it, I was not a fan. And then I was hoping maybe I would see something at E3 that would get me a little more excited for it. That did not happen. I was a little bit more, okay, single players there. It looks like there's something going on that more than just kind of randomly shooting people and running around. And it's something more than Borderlands. Sorry, Borderlands fans. But bottom line is, for me, what I'm looking for, I still didn't see enough at this press conference to sell me on the game.
First trailer for this one kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't really expect a Rage 2. I think we kind of had rumors like a week beforehand. And the first trailer, I was like, all right, they're just trying to liven it up. It could be kind of cool. I'm going to be honest with you, and this might surprise you because I know I really hyped it up once we found out it was coming. Man, it's very meh, and it's just not Rage. Like, it's not what I thought Rage was. Like, the little bit I played, granted, only a couple hours, but it was just like, to me, it's kind of like what they did with Prey, where they said, hey, we want to make this kind of game. We like that name, but we can't use that name anymore unless we just make it. Like the original Prey, 2006, nothing to do with this latest Prey, right? So, but they just liked the name, so they used it. I kind of feel like they liked the name Rage. They just threw a 2 on it and completely changed everything about it, right? Like aesthetics and just the feel of the game. So for me, right now, it's a hard pass, man. It's just not something I'm into.
I played the first Rage for about an hour or so. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. The trailer for Rage 2 didn't do anything for me. Rage 2 is something that I'll probably get at some point when it's on sale, like a digital, hey, this is our Christmas sale on Xbox Live. You can get Rage 2 for $4. Okay, cool.
Now, see, if it was $4, I would consider buying it. But, I don't know. So Rage 2, everyone. Another thing that they mentioned at the press conference, Prey, they did mention, which that was a surprise to me. I actually played the new Prey.
I enjoyed it.
Well, see, I enjoyed it for what it was, but in general, I wasn't really that much of a fan. I personally loved the original Prey that Rafe referenced. Yeah, man. I mean, there was just something so amazing back then in 2006 about that opening sequence in the bar and being abducted and the alien abduction and everything going on. Like,
flipping the walls and walking on the ceiling. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, it was just such an awesome, amazing game. But there's a new DLC for those of you that did enjoy it enough to get the DLC. Some new single-player content and other game modes added. So that was pretty cool. Wolfenstein and Prey, speaking of Prey still, and I just got to say, Wolfenstein and Prey VR, specifically, let me stress that. I just got to say that I feel like I've been put in my place because for those of you that listened to our pre-E3 conference, I was kind of, harping on the fact that VR was not really in existence anymore as far as consoles are concerned. And, obviously it didn't outweigh the traditional games, but there were quite a few announcements and as far as VR is concerned at the conferences throughout the course of E3. So,
well, I was going to say, to also help you save face, Microsoft has since come out and said, we're not interested. We're not doing it.
But they also talked about a few other releases, Elder Scrolls Blades, which is a mobile version of Elder Scrolls. They said it was a full-scale Elder Scrolls game on your digital or on your mobile device. You just pull out your cell phone and you could just sit there and explore the worlds of Elder Scrolls. I was kind of shocked by it, to be honest with you, and the fact that they could actually do that kind of gameplay.
Yeah, because why focus on Elder Scrolls 6? Why? That's ridiculous. Well, let's do mobile games and remakes. Yeah.
So, we just, putting it out there for those of you that would maybe be interested. If you want to look it up and see some more information on those, that is out there for you. We also had, and this is a different series that I haven't been into since the 4th iteration on the 360, and that is Quake. They talked a lot about Quake Champions, and I loved Quake 4 on the 360, loved it. And so I was kind of disappointed when I saw that Champions, or the next Quake game, was not going to be single player or have a single player option.
And I do want to say, I mean, Quake is actually a good game for those of people who are looking forward to a multiplayer game. It's it's just not for Mr. C. That's all.
So for those of you that are into multiplayer, yes, it's a good option. A lot of fun, just not our thing. Going from Quake to Doom Eternal. That, to me, was a big, well, I won't say it was a big surprise. I kind of expected something along the lines of Doom 2. The fact that they dropped the number and added Eternal, I thought was pretty cool, though. And the fact that it is just like the original Doom 2 that took place on Earth. It was Hell on Earth. And apparently, according to the developer, that's what a lot of fans were asking for was, hey, let's bring Hell on Earth. And here it is. Outside of a short cinematic trailer, we didn't get to see any gameplay, but we did get to see a short cinematic trailer showcasing the fact that, yep, it's going to be Hell on Earth. Some new creatures, some new demons, and just looks like it's Doom. What are you going to say? I loved the original reboot that came out a few years ago. So Doom Eternal. Nothing outside of that quick cinematic trailer, but it's coming. So kind of excited for that. They also they really surprised me with this next one, Wolfenstein Youngblood. I don't know if I think Mike, you've at least played the first one. I can't remember if you played the new Colossus, Wolfenstein 2, but the rebooted franchise, I have absolutely loved it, and I think it's pretty cool with the new with the new game that they announced, Youngblood, that it's actually taking place in the 80s, and you play as the twins of B.J. Blazkowicz, who's the main protagonist of all the Wolfenstein games, really. But there's a co-op option, but you can still play single player as with an AI partner. So as of right now, I haven't seen, again, any actual gameplay. They only showed a cinematic trailer, and it's been maybe a minute or two talking about it.
I was going to say, for me, I actually played all of them that have been out this generation, or the reboot, I guess is if you want to call it that. I actually really enjoyed the games. I think they're great for anybody who hasn't checked them out. Definitely check them out, and they're always at a good price as well.
So the next game, I promised you listeners my 100% verdict on this next game, and I'm not going to go first on this one, but I'm just going to put it out there. It's Fallout 76.
So, I'll say this about Fallout. I think, because naturally I saw it and I was like, that loses the identity of Fallout. Like the go out there, explore, like create your own story type deal, right? And then I thought about, okay, well, if it's multiplayer, I know years ago when Oblivion came out, us three kind of talked about how it would be kind of cool if you could drop in and just kind of hang out, run around, with your buddy. So at first I thought with this, I was like, you know what, that's kind of cool. They're appealing to that generation. And, we're going to have these servers, you're going to be a dedicated server. My first thought was, man, if you're anywhere that your internet goes crappy, or in my line of work where you got to travel anywhere and you just don't know, it's like that could end up being a wasted game. And outside of just that fact, the idea that it was kind of centered around the multiplayer aspect, and let me tell you this right now, when a game says, hey, you can do single player, but the focus is multiplayer, don't try to play the game if you're trying to go single player, because the focus isn't there. Very few games can kind of pull that, drop in, drop out, co-op type deal. So to me, I just think the kind of player I am, Fallout 76 would not appeal to me.
So I know for me, and then I'm sure Bo's going to have a mouthful on this one, I'm actually not upset that it's online, to be honest with you. I'm not a huge Fallout fan to begin with, but to me, so when I first heard about Destiny, I was like, oh, this game is going to be awful because, again, I don't want to be dedicated to online only. But when I finally played Destiny, I was like, okay, it is a single-player game. You just have this option for online. It just enhances the world. So I'm going into Fallout 76 like that this is a single-player game that happens to be plugged in online. So it just kind of adds another element to the world. So I'm actually not any more excited for the game, but I'm definitely not less excited for the Fallout. And I'm actually going to probably check this game out. And if it was just Fallout 6, I would have probably just skipped it.
I mean, that's actually an interesting notation there, Mike. The fact that a traditional Fallout you would bypass, but this one you're willing to give it a shot. That's good stuff. And shows, that there are definitely people out there. I've talked to many people that are actually excited for this game and for this version of Fallout. Some people even saying this is what they've always wanted to do in a Fallout game. And I understand that. And hey, man, to each their own. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Everybody will enjoy what they want to enjoy. As far as my personal opinion of the game, in that moment during the press conference, as I said about Xbox, I was so stoked for this game. I'm sitting there watching the Bethesda press conference. They show even more. They talk about the lore and the world of West Virginia and the creatures and different things, and they start showing stuff. I'm like, man, I'm so excited, so excited. Then Todd Howard drops that bomb and says, Fallout 76 is online only. And I just said, oh, man. Now, in concept, yes, I think that sounds pretty cool. Say for instance, me and you two guys, we get online and we go and do some stuff in the wasteland in West Virginia. All right, that sounds pretty cool. But at the same time, when I play Fallout, and just like with Elder Scrolls Online, it's the same kind of concept. I personally prefer to play a traditionally single player game, single player. And Rafe, to your point, I do feel that way, where if somebody's saying, yeah, you can play single player, but it's really more built to be fully experienced and get the full, gist of what we're going for here if you play with other people. Also, they made the comment that, hey, you are the first people out of the vault to ever emerge from vaults are real people. You guys.
What I was going to say, it's a weird concept, though, if you think about it. Hey, there's this all of humanity has been wiped out, and you are the first people out the vault, all 2 billion of you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm in on that. That sounds weird.
I kind of want to touch on the 5-second clip that showcased the Elder Scrolls 6. We all were talking.
Let me jump in here, and I'm gonna combine two games. I know we were gonna go through the list here, but Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield, they both got a very quick, brief mention. And I know I gave EA a lot of crap because they did it with the dude standing in the audience and talking about Star Wars. Sorry, I was trying to get my way to Star Wars. But I'm actually going to not knock Bethesda as bad because I think it was the worst kept secret that they were working on at Elder Scrolls and they were working on Starfield. And I think they kind of had to save face and say, okay, yeah, they're coming. But they also had to kind of do not necessarily damage control, but keep the hype and the expectations in line and say, guys, it's going to be next generation. It's going to be at least 2 years before we probably start seeing these things. So, yeah, it sucked to see it and not really see anything about it, but it's probably because they were just trying to say, okay, guys, you found out about it, but we are just way too early in development to show you anything. So, yeah, I might have knocked EA, but I think Bethesda kind of had to do what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, when you put it like that, it makes more sense. So I can kind of understand that. It makes me not feel as frustrated with the fact that it was just 2 quick snippets. And I mean, hey, what better way to start off a brand new generation than Elder Scrolls 6 and a brand new IP, Starfield, that I can only imagine, Elder Scrolls or Fallout in space. I mean, that's got me super stoked, as you guys know from the E3 pre-E3 show, our listeners. So obviously, I wanted, me being selfish about it, I wanted to see a little bit more than just a satellite floating in space.
But thinking about this, man, we're going to go an entire console generation without an Elder Scrolls and possibly a Grand Theft Auto. This is crazy.
So, yeah, I mean, there you have it. That was Bethesda's press conference. For me, overall, some of the things as far as presentation and decisions they made with, like I said, the Andrew WK and different other things. Overall, for my personal... Yeah. Overall, for me, my enjoyment, my disappointment, whatever, it weighed out to be about right in the middle. So I gave it a 5 out of 10 for Bethesda.
I'll keep with tradition and go next. And I'll probably give it a 5. I mean, they did show up. They did show some games, but nothing really stood out to me. So, yeah, I'll give it a 5.
So this one's a little bit harder for me because there's games on here that I definitely will get, but I was never not once excited about anything, which is crazy because I'm an Elder Scrolls fan. But, I mean, it looked like they literally just took a screenshot from Skyrim and put the lettering on it, Elder Scrolls 6. So there was nothing that excited me about this press conference at all. So I'm going to give them a 4.
Well, there you have it. 5, 5, and 4. Bethesda E3 2018 press conference.